The studio lights blazed down on the set of The View, where the co-hosts sat poised around their iconic table, cups of coffee steaming in front of them as the audience buzzed with anticipation. Joy Behar, with her signature sharp wit and no-nonsense demeanor, leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she addressed the guest of the hour, Kevin Spacey, who lounged confidently in his chair, a sly smile playing on his lips. The topic had veered into Spacey's controversial past, his legal battles, and his return to the spotlight, and Behar wasn't holding back. "Kevin, let's be real here," she began, her voice cutting through the air like a knife. "After all the allegations, the trials, how do you expect people to just forget and welcome you back with open arms? Isn't this just another Hollywood comeback story where accountability takes a backseat?" Spacey chuckled softly, adjusting his tie with deliberate slowness, his gaze locking onto hers with an intensity that made the room feel smaller. "Joy, darling, accountability? That's rich coming from someone who's built a career on judging others from a pedestal built on selective outrage." The audience gasped, a ripple of murmur spreading as Spacey continued, his voice smooth yet laced with venom. "You've spent years on this show dissecting lives, twisting narratives to fit your agenda, all while ignoring the skeletons in your own closet. Remember that time you dressed in blackface for Halloween? Oh, wait, you called it a beautiful African woman costume. Hypocrisy much?" Behar's face flushed, her mouth opening to retort, but Spacey pressed on relentlessly. "And let's not forget your cozy chats with politicians who've done far worse. You grill me on unproven allegations and allegations I was acquitted of, mind you, while giving passes to your favorites. It's not about justice for you, it's about ratings and virtue signaling." The other co-hosts shifted uncomfortably, Whoopi Goldberg trying to interject with a moderating hand, but Spacey waved it off politely. "No, let me finish. Joy, you're the queen of gotcha moments, but today, the tables are turned. You ask how I expect forgiveness? The same way you do after your gaffe, by owning it and moving on. But unlike you, I faced the music in court, not just on Twitter." Behar stammered, "That's not fair, Kevin. I apologized for that." But Spacey shook his head, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "Apologized? Sure, after the backlash, but where's the real change? You still sit here, moralizing, pot, meat kettle." The tension thickened, the audience alternating between cheers and boos, as Spacey dismantled her point by point, his eloquence turning the interview into a masterclass in verbal sparring. He delved into media bias, celebrity culture, and personal redemption, quoting philosophers and playwrights to bolster his arguments, leaving Behar scrambling for responses that fell flat. By the end of this opening salvo, the set felt electric, with Spacey emerging as the unflappable victor in this unexpected showdown. As the commercial break loomed, Behar attempted to regain control, pivoting to Spacey's acting career and his latest projects, hoping to steer the conversation to safer waters. "All right, Kevin, let's talk about your new film. Is this your way of proving you're still relevant?" she quipped, a forced smile on her face. Spacey leaned back, crossing his legs with theatrical flair. "Relevant, Joy? I've been relevant since before you were hosting talk shows. House of Cards redefined television, and that's just one chapter. But let's address the elephant in the room: your disdain for anyone who doesn't align with your politics." The audience leaned in, sensing another layer unfolding. "You label people as destroyed or cancelled based on headlines, not facts. Me? I was tried and cleared, yet here you are, implying I'm grasping at straws." Behar fired back, "The court of public opinion is different, Kevin. People remember." Spacey smirked, "Ah, the court of public opinion presided over by keyboard warriors and daytime TV hosts like yourself. Remember when you defended Roman Polanski? It wasn't rape, you said." "Selective memory, Joy?" Gasps echoed again, Sunny Hostin covering her mouth in shock as Behar bristled. "That was taken out of context," she protested. "Context? I'll give you context," Spacey retorted, his voice rising just enough to command silence. "You've platformed abusers, excused behaviors when it suits your narrative, but when it's someone like me, acquitted and ready to work, you pounce. It's not about morality, it's about tribe." He wove in anecdotes from his career, contrasting his experiences with Hollywood's double standards, naming names without fear: directors, actors, even politicians Behar had praised. "You cheered for Bill Clinton, despite his scandals. Why? Because he's your guy." "Me? I'm the villain du jour," Behar tried to interrupt, but Spacey's rhythm was unbreakable, his delivery reminiscent of his Frank Underwood monologues, turning the table into his stage. The co-hosts exchanged glances, Ana Navarro whispering something inaudible, but Spacey continued, dissecting Behar's past comments on cancel culture, feminism, and accountability with surgical precision. "You claim to champion women, yet you've mocked victims who don't fit your mold. Hypocrisy isn't just a flaw, Joy, it's your brand." By now, the segment stretched, producers signaling for a break, but the verbal duel had captivated everyone, with Spacey exposing cracks in Behar's armor that no one anticipated. Returning from the break, the energy in the studio had shifted palpably, with audience members whispering excitedly about the unfolding drama. Behar, determined not to back down, launched into a defense of her show's role in society. "Kevin, The View is about discussion. About holding people accountable. You're twisting this into a personal attack." Spacey nodded mockingly. "Accountable? Like how you held Harvey Weinstein accountable before it was trendy?" "Oh wait, you didn't. You partied with him." The revelation hung in the air, Behar's eyes widening as Spacey pulled out printed articles from his jacket as props for emphasis. "Photos don't lie, Joy. You were all smiles at those galas. But now, you're the arbiter of justice?" Whoopi tried to mediate again. "Let's keep it civil," but Spacey waved her off gently. "Civil? This is civil. I'm just stating facts, something this show often avoids when it doesn't suit the narrative." He delved deeper, comparing Behar's career trajectory to his own, highlighting how both had faced public scrutiny but handled it differently. "I've admitted mistakes, sought therapy, rebuilt quietly. You double down, blame the right-wing media," Behar countered. "I've evolved, Kevin." "People change." "Evolved? From defending blackface to criticizing others for cultural insensitivity? That's not evolution, that's convenience." The exchange grew heated, Spacey quoting Behar's own words back at her from past episodes, each one a dagger that left her floundering. "You said Trump supporters are uneducated. Classy. But when I support arts education, you ignore it because it doesn't fit your villain arc for me." The audience split, some applauding Spacey's candor, others booing his audacity, but he remained composed, turning every jab into a broader commentary on media hypocrisy. "Shows like this thrive on conflict, not truth. You invite me here to destroy me, but look who's unraveling." Behar's responses grew shorter, more defensive, as Spacey masterfully controlled the pace, inserting humor to lighten yet sharpen his points. "Joy, if this were a script, I'd win the Oscar for Best Takedown." Laughter erupted, diffusing tension momentarily, but the underlying demolition continued, paragraph by paragraph in this live verbal script. Midway through the interview, the discussion turned to broader cultural issues, with Behar attempting to pivot to cancel culture's merits. "Kevin, cancel culture holds power to account. Without it, people like you might never face consequences." Spacey laughed outright. "Consequences? I faced trials, Joy, real ones, with judges and evidence." "Cancel culture is a mob with pitchforks and no due process. You should know you've wielded it plenty." He cited examples from her show, episodes where guests were ambushed or narratives spun without full context. "Remember ambushing that conservative pundit? No fair hearing, just gotchas." Behar huffed. "We give everyone a chance." "A chance? Like the one you're giving me now?" Interrupting every sentence, the banter escalated, Spacey using his theatrical background to mimic Behar's gestures exaggeratedly, drawing chuckles even from the panel. "See, that's you, Joy," arms waving, voice rising. "But when facts hit, you deflect." He transitioned seamlessly into personal anecdotes, sharing how false narratives nearly ended his career, contrasting it with Behar's insulated position. "You've got a cushy gig here, protected by ABC. Me, I fought alone." The emotional depth added layers, humanizing Spacey while exposing Behar's privilege. "You talk feminism, but tear down women who disagree with you. Sarah Palin, you called her names I'd never repeat." Behar protested weakly, but Spacey was relentless, building a case like a prosecutor in a courtroom drama. It's all performative. Joy, your outrage is selective, your apologies scripted. The audience, now fully engaged, reacted with a mix of applause and tension, as Spacey wove in pop culture references, from Shakespeare to modern memes, to illustrate his points. In Hamlet, the play's the thing to catch the conscience. Here, the interview is catching yours. Behar's composure cracked visibly, her retorts lacking punch, as Spacey dominated, turning what was meant to be his grilling into her exposure. As the segment neared its climax, Spacey shifted gears, offering an olive branch wrapped in barbs. Joy, I don't hate you, I respect the hustle, but let's drop the facade. This show isn't journalism, it's entertainment. And today, I'm the star. Behar, sensing an opportunity, tried to rally. Entertainment, you're the one performing. Kevin, performing? Guilty as charged. I'm an actor. What's your excuse? The quick wit elicited roars from the crowd, Spacey capitalizing on the momentum to discuss redemption arcs in Hollywood. People forgive Meryl Streep's friends, but not me. Double standards abound. He name-dropped allies and critics alike, forcing Behar to confront her biases. You've praised Woody Allen, despite everything. Why? Art over allegations? Apply that to me. Behar stammered, it's complicated. But Spacey pounced. Complicated only when it's not your enemy. The dissection continued, touching on free speech, media echo chambers, and personal growth, with Spacey quoting his own trial's outcomes as irrefutable proof. Acquitted means innocent. Joy, or does your court disagree? The co-hosts intervened more actively now, Sarah Haynes trying to lighten the mood with a joke, but Spacey steered back masterfully. Humor's my weapon, but facts are my shield. He shared vulnerable moments, admitting past regrets without apology, contrasting Behar's defensive stance. I've grown, have you? The question lingered, unanswered, as the verbal assault peaked, leaving Behar exposed and the audience in awe of Spacey's rhetorical prowess. In the final moments before wrapping, Spacey delivered the knockout blow, summarizing his takedown with poised elegance. Joy, you've been a fixture here for years, dishing it out. Today, you took Haita and couldn't handle it. That's the real story. Behar, red-faced, muttered, this isn't over. But Spacey smiled serenely. It is for now. Thanks for the platform. As applause thundered, he stood, shaking hands with the panel, his demeanor gracious yet triumphant. The show cut to commercial, but the impact resonated, with social media already ablaze. Spacey had turned the tables, exposing hypocrisies, defending his narrative, and emerging unscathed. The script of this live encounter, though unscripted, read like a thriller: twists, turns, and a clear victor. Behar's attempts at recovery fell flat in post-show analysis, while Spacey's quotes went viral, cementing his destruction as legendary. It wasn't just an interview, it was a cultural moment, highlighting the fragility of public personas under scrutiny. Spacey walked off set, head high, leaving the view forever changed.